Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I explain how the NCE system works and I share my experiences that I have with it, just so you can see if NCE is the right system for you. Let's have a look. NCE has systems for everyone. For the starter, they have this power cab, which gives you access to this great NCE cab for an affordable price. If you have a bigger layout or if you want to go wireless, they have systems for that as well. And also for the larger O and G scales, they have booster systems. So let's dive straight in. These functions you're going to use the most, and the screen, obviously. So let's have a look. It says locomotive 8501. That means I've selected locomotive 8501. That's that guy over there, the diesel. Then here's the time. You can have the actual time or you can have a fast clock showing. It's in forward direction and the speed is 000 and I have no functions on. We'll come back to that in a second. Here I can change the direction. So if I press this button, you'll see it goes to reverse and to forward. Here I can set the momentum. You can do this on the fly. I don't really use this. I just I program a acceleration and deceleration rate in the decoder. But you could do it this way as well. I'm not going to use it, so I'm just going to press escape. And then here are 3 ways to set speed. The one I like to use, and the most easy one, I'll just show you, is this wheel in the middle. So you just turn it, and you can see here, the locomotive increases speed, and there it goes as well. Increase it a bit. And I can decrease it and it will accelerate. Let it be noted I have quite a lot of momentum set on all my locomotives on the layout. Another way to do the speed, let me just change direction, go reverse, is with these buttons. Here you can increase and decrease by a value of 1. The buttons on this side increase and decrease by a value of 10. So if I press the increase, it will go from 3 to 13. And now if I select the decrease fast, it will go back to 3, and then I can use whatever button just to turn it down as such. So then we have the sound buttons. Let me just turn it on. Here we have the horn. Number 3 is, I think, a short horn. No, yeah. So that works. There's a bell as well. You can see while I select the functions, the numbers appear here as well. The bell is number 1, and the short horn I pressed is number 3. So it appears there. I can turn the headlight on. And that one, then the L would appear for the headlight. This order is always the same. So it's L, number 1 is there. I don't know what number 2 does. That's the continuous horn. And then number 3 is there as well. And then what other functions you might have. You can control all the functions even if they're in the 20s and the 30s through this cab. Then we have the option button. You can program this. It's by default set to brake. So I can show you right now. Let's give it a little speed, and let's say I want to couple to a car. Let's just decrease the speed a bit. And then when you're almost there, you press the option button, and it will stop. That, I believe, is its intended use. You can also program this option button. A lot of people program it to access the higher functions. So now we have a 0 to 9, and then you can program it, and it would be 10 to 19 or 20 to 29. Then we have the emergency stop. This has 3 different levels built into it. If you press it once, then this locomotive here will switch off, I believe. If you press it a second time, all locomotives will come to a standstill. And if you press it a third time, I believe the power is cut to the entire layout. Then we have the recall button. You can store up to 6 different locomotives. Let me try that. In this one cab. So we got a 57080, blah, blah, blah. And you just recall them just like that. So this is 565. And that's that little steamer right there. Show you. So you can just move it just like that. Control the functions, everything works. And we just park it somewhere around here for our next demonstration. And then if I want to go back to the 8501, the diesel, you just press the recall button until you see it pop up, and there it is. Select locomotive is another way to select the locomotive. If you press this button, then you can just type in the locomotive number. So in this case, let's say I want 565, select loco, 565, enter, and then this one is 565. We got the macro button. I've never used this. You can program macros, type in the number, and it will work. I think if you're watching this video, then that will be probably a bit advanced for you as well. At least it is for me. Select ASCII, I think you can select consist with that. Then we got your numbers and enter, and then we got consisting. This is fun. Let's do a little consisting. I feel like building a consist. Let me get in another little locomotive to help us with that consist, because you're going to need 2 locomotives, at least, for one consist. One thing to be noted, these 2 locomotives have already been speed matched. That's going to be a prerequisite if you're making a consist, otherwise you'll just destroy your locomotives. So I intentionally left a little gap in between so you can see that the consist actually works. So how to set it up, it's very easy. That's why in the end I actually chose NCC, because it just shows you what you should do. So consist, you got setup, clear, add, delete. I want to set up consist. Setup. Do you want an advanced one, an old one? I don't know, I'm just going to press enter. Consist address 127, fantastic. Lead locomotive. This is the lead locomotive, it's the first one, number is 7080. I'm just going to add in 7080. Enter. Is the direction of this locomotive facing forward? Yes, it is. So, enter. Rear locomotive. 565. 565. Enter. Is the direction of this locomotive facing forward? Yes, it is. So, for people who don't know, diesels often are faced with the noses, with the forwards facing out. So independently of the direction they have to travel, the engineer can just go to the cab on the other side. And then he'll always be sitting at the front of the locomotive going forward. When you press enter, then you should see the locomotive does a small jolt in forward direction, just to confirm that it's working. So now we have the first locomotive and we have the last locomotive. Do we want to add another one in between? In our case, no, we don't. So I'm just going to press enter. And it's done. We got consist with the leading locomotive 7080. And there it is. So now let's move forward. As you see, increasing the speed. And there they go. Doesn't that look nice? Come back in. I'll just decrease the speed. And now I want to clear the consists, so I just press clear, kill consist, I think it's just enter, no, clear, kill consist, oh the number was 127, so enter, and there it is, it's gone. Now I can just recall one of the locomotives to show you that they are working again independently. Just as easy as that. So then we have some special buttons. This one I'll talk about in a minute. It's about programming your locomotives, and here you can change some things on the fly. I think this button is to change some settings in the throttle itself. And here you can have shift, you can enter 10, 11, 12. One thing I want to point out, especially the throttles and how this all works, is what you're going to be wanting to look at when you choose your DCC system. This is what you're going to use most of the time. I actually never touch the unit that's underneath the cabinet, and it's just sitting there doing its job. So another thing I want to point out, you can program all the buttons to do whatever you want them to do, and you can program and change absolutely everything. Like this wheel, for instance, the first time straight out of the box, if you move it, I think, and if you move it quickly, the numbers will change with a factor of 3. So that means that your acceleration of the locomotive is almost like logarithmic. I didn't like that at all. So I changed it. You can just change it. Change it that it just continues in a linear fashion. So it doesn't matter how fast you go and how fast you give a spin on the dial, it will always only move up with a step of 1. NCE also sells these small cabs that have basically one giant wheel and the buttons to operate your train. So now a quick word about programming. When I first got the unit, I programmed everything with this guy. Later on, I started using JMRI, and I would recommend everyone to use JMRI because it's much easier and quicker. But if you don't have the access to it, here's an explanation how you do it with the ProCab. As said, I really like it because it just tells you what you want to do. You just need to answer the ProCab.
It's really easy. Just press the program button and it asks you what do you want to do. Program loco on main. I don't want to do that because I have a lot of locomotives on the main. Here's my program track, so I want to go to the programming track. I'm just going to press the button again. Don't want to do that. Assign loco to cab. I do not want to do that. Clock. No. Use program track. Yes. Enter. So here you have 3 options. One are the standard values. So this will be your locomotive number, how many speed steps you want. Do you want a long locomotive number or a short one? Things like that. CVs, this is where you're going to spend 99% of the time. And 3, I believe, is registry. I never used that. So you're probably not going to need it, to be honest, because I've done quite a lot with my layout and I've never had to use this. So let's have an example. Let's say we want to set CV number 4 to a different value. So you just press first 2, to CV number. Well, I set CV number 4, so I press 4, enter. And then it first reads out what it is right now. And it's 50, okay? I believe it's momentum, so that could be accurate. And then now I could change it to, let's say, 35 if I would want to. And then press enter. So now if I go back to CV number 4, it should be number 35. As these locomotives are speed matched, I do want to set it back to 50, so I'm just going to change it back to 50. And press enter. I can just check it if I want to. CV number 4, enter. And it should be 50. There it is, as easy as that. Now if I press the escape button, program button again, and it goes out of programming mode, and that's that. Just looking at the system itself, I have the Power Pro. There's not much to say actually. I plugged this system in a few years ago and I never really looked at it again. I do want to have one special mention on the versatility of the NCE system, at least the Power Pro that I have. One day I wanted to mess around with JMRI. Well, I just got a cable, I plugged it into the COM port, and it worked. The other day I bought this proto throttle. I just plugged in this proto throttle unit into their circuit board, and it worked. And that's all that I really want from a system. To plug it in, it has to work all the time, and with all these different gadgets that I get throughout the time. And here I also have a small cab that NCE sells. I never really use it, to be honest. I thought it would be really handy, but somehow I like the big cab more. You see a size comparison. And now I have the proto throttle. I almost always just use that where I can. I use the NCE ProCab for the steam engines. So there we are. That's the basics of the system. This was very quick and short, as it is very easy to use. I am slightly biased because at home I only have experience with NCE, but I frankly do not have anything to complain about. It's an easy system, it's very accessible, and it's easy to learn new things such as programming and consisting. It's also a very versatile system, as I showed you. You can do everything you want or everything I want, I can do with it. So I recommend to use NCE for anyone who is looking to get into the hobby or who wants to change their current DCC system. So thank you very much, that's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and feel free to donate if you want to support this channel as well. Thank you very much.